Chavrusa Daf. Okay.
Good morning, Chavrusa Daf listeners. Today is Friday.
Lots of action here in the base medrash.
Yes, there's a hot debate going on in the back about what is the best limud. Is it Gemara? A. B. Chumash Rashi. C. Navi. D. None of the above. Panimis Hatera. Kabbalah. Machshava. I think what we've got so far in the synopsis is you gotta learn what speaks to you. Kind of a progressive approach today, but everyone agrees though that it's all important. It's kind of just where you want to focus most of your limud. So, do you need Gemara? Yes. Do you need Machshava? Yes. Okay. How much do I apply to each? Oh, so you'll quote me the Gemara that says you should spend a third of your day on Mishnah, a third a day on... I forget what the other 2/3 are. But then some people say, well, that's the Gemara saying to learn the Gemara a third of the day. A little bias over there. One might say so. But it doesn't take away from the fact that Talmud Bavli is Geshmak. And learning a daf a day is not going to get you more connected to Hashem. You're wasting your time. In the end of the day, that's the point, right? He wants to gain a connection to Hashem and His Torah so we could feel more connected. That's what we're trying to do here in Chavrusa Daf. You can learn a daf yourself. How much connection are you getting? You can learn a daf with a Rebbe. That's great if you feel connected. But if that's not for you, join us. Chavrusa Daf.
We are holding Lamed Zayin Amud Aleph. Araya now shifts to a different line of questioning. Abaye said to Rav Dimi. And again, Rav Dimi said what? Rav Dimi said that needs to be...
That Achilas Pras is deraisa, right?
Right, Achilas Pras is deraisa. Abaye says to Rav Dimi, Mimai Daham Mishras, from what is known that this word infuse, Lahet Mitzdarf L'Isr Huda Asa. Or Rav Dimi is the one who says that Mitzdarf L'Isr.
I thought
No?
He was the one who said, because I speak the Achilas Pras. After Mitzdarf L'Isr, I think was Abaye.
Wait, what did Rabbi Yochanan say?
Okay, you're right. Rabbi Yochanan, who is a Tana, said Kol Yisur and Shabbatar and Hatter Mitzdarf L'Isr Chutz Mi'Yisur Nazir.
Right.
There's something special by Nazir. Then Dimi, the Mayra, was trying to understand Rabbi Yochanan's statement, and he said, "Wait a second."
No, he shared what Rabbi Yochanan said.
Right, and then Abaye had a question.
And then Abaye
said it's a steer of Rabbi Yochanan because he sees somewhere else where Rabbi Yochanan has basically another case of Heter Mitzdarf L'Isr in a place other than Nazir.
Right.
And then therefore he says
that the Rabbi Yochanan says what he says in that case. In that case, it's not because of Mitzdarif, it's because of Kesayas B'Chtei Achilas Pras. Meaning, depending on the type of case.
right.
But according to Rav Dimi, he needs within with Achilas B'Chtei Achilas Pras is deraisa, and this idea of being Mitzdarif is also deraisa, but it only applies by certain cases. So Abaye says, and who spoke out this idea of infused when we learned it?
In the Mishnah, you mean?
No, with yesterday's Gemara, we spoke about...
Well, the infused is quoting our Mishnah, which was Rabbi Kiva saying the Heter Mitzdarf L'Isr in that case, no?
No. Rabbi Bo, when he spoke about Rabbi Yochanan, he says the reason why... this is it. The reason why Rabbi Yochanan says what he says, that it only applies by Nazir, because there's a special word of infused, that you're able to dip the bread in the wine and you'll still be Aser.
Oh, yes.
And that's what Rav Dimi repeated. And now Abaye has a question. You want to say, Rav Dimi, B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, that the word infused comes to teach you Lahat Mitzdarf Le'Isser, Uda'asa, Dilma Litin Tambe Ke'ikr Uda'asa. Perhaps it comes to make flavor equivalent to substance. Note 7.
Wait, sorry, where are you reading now? Oh,
37A1.
great. Yeah, it's just on the wrong page. Okay.
You want to say that the concept flavor is equivalent to substance means that a permitted food that has absorbed the flavor of forbidden food is forbidden like the forbidden food itself. Thus, for example, if vegetables were cooked with non-kosher meat and the meat was then removed, the vegetables remain forbidden if one can taste the flavor of meat in them. According to Rashi and Rosh, the vegetables flavored by the meat are themselves transformed into a forbidden substance, and one who eats a gazais of the flavored vegetables is liable to lashes.
Right.
So why do you say that infused comes to teach you bread and wine, and then you can be mitzdarif them, and it's aser? Maybe it means that if you put bread with wine,
It's very subtle because
what's the difference?
Yeah, I was thinking about that now.
As it applies to Nazir.
I think right. I think the difference is you have to come on to say that it's being mitzdarif. So if you drink half the wine, half the pita, that's the kazayas, or is it that no, just eating now the pita itself, because it's infused with the flavor of that wine, would make you, let's say, like here, that food itself, the pita, just the bread,
meaning even if
gets the flavor.
Meaning even though the wine is not in there, but it took some of the time,
right,
and that should be enough to make you usher.
I think that's the difference.
It's meaning this would be even more machmer potentially.
Yes, I could see how it would be. Yes.
Maybe that's what it's coming to teach you, or in a more
yes.
Meaning, it could also be like a portion of time. If you put the bread in, maybe it doesn't get soaked up unless it's there 10 minutes. Here, when you put it, you just dip it in, it gets some flavor, and maybe that's what it's teaching you, that you're still over in regards to.
Right.
It's like
I would imagine, a wine dipped in bread, even if you let it dry and all the drips came out, you would still taste wine. Right,
the flavor's there. So maybe that's what the Torah is saying, that midiraisa, you're aser. Ulabaye. The Gemara interrupts Abaye's question to show an apparent inconsistency in his position. Ulabaye. According to Abaye, how does this present query make sense? At first, he finds difficult that which Rav Dimi says, that the combination principle applies only to the case of Nazir, the Kav Moisav law called Halin Tiyufta, and he challenges Rav Dimi with all these earlier challenges in an effort to prove that the combination principle has much wider application. Then he says to Rav Dimi that the word infused might teach that liting tam ke'ikr, to make flavor equivalent to substance, thereby arguing that the combination principle should not even apply to the case of Nazir. Note 8. Until this point, Abaye had argued on behalf of a wide application of the combination principle, extending it to prohibitions other than Nazir. His present question represents a complete about-face, since it argues that the principle should not even apply to the case of Nazir, as the word infused. Why the sudden shift? It's not like a stira, but I guess Abaye got, in some sense, okay, Rav Dimi kept answering all his questions. He's like, fine, you want to play ball? I'll play ball. Maybe it's not even referring to anything to do with Hertiv and Starflist, or maybe infused is nothing.
It's a whole different principle. Abaye may cook.
Oh, I guess that's the Gemara answers. Basar Deshani, after Rav Dimi answered him satisfactorily, showing how the proofs Abaye sought to adduce were inconclusive, Abaye conceded, but said to him, Perhaps it comes to make flavor equivalent to substance. Abai was convinced. Rav Dimi argued very good with all these heter mitzdarf listers.
Yeah.
So now he's like, wait, are you sure it's heter mitzdarf lister? Maybe it is litain tam ki'ikr. So having resolved the inconsistency in Abai's position, the Gemara records the balance of his present question. The word infused might come to teach that which was taught in the following brisa. Mishras litain tam ki'ikr. The word infused serves to make flavor equivalent to substance. She'im shara anavim b'mayim. That is, if a Nazir soaked grapes in water, v'yesh behen tam yayin, and the water has the flavor of wine, chayiv, he is liable.
So literally there is actually a Gemara of this question, right?
There's a brisa of what Mishras is
and it's
teaching.
saying it teaches Tam Geger. Oh wait, so you realize it's a little different here. You're soaking grapes in the water. So you're not squeezing the grapes to actually make wine, you're just soaking
the outside of the grape has some sort of tam that's flavoring the black cherry
grape flavored water.
seltzer.
Black cherry.
From here you derive that the same applies to all other prohibitions in the Torah through the following reasoning. If in regard to the law of a Nazir, whose prohibition is not a permanent prohibition but only for the term specified in his vow, Veini Surah Isra Hanan, whose prohibition is not a prohibition against benefit from grapes, but only against eating them, V'yesh Heter L'Isura, and whose prohibition can be released even midterm by having the vow canceled by a sage or panel, also by Tam Ki'ikr. Still, despite these lenient aspects, the Torah made flavor equivalent to substance in its regards. Then Kilei HaKerem, then in the case of Kilei HaKerem, is the mixture of species in a vineyard. Thus, for example, it's forbidden to plant the grape seed together with a wheat kernel and barley kernel. And if one does so, he's forbidden to benefit from the resulting grain and vine. She'isur in Israelim, whose prohibition is permanent prohibition. V'isur in Isra Hanya, and his prohibition is a prohibition against benefit. The Ein Heter L'Isur, and whose prohibition cannot be released. Ein Adin She'yasu B'Tam Ki'ikr, is it not a kal v'chomer that the Torah would make flavor equivalent to substance in its regard? The Brisa concludes, and the same argument can be made in regard to.
So, by the way, what does it mean by that Tam Ki'ikr by Klai Kerem? It means that if you, let's say, grafted wheat with grapes, and that grew, and you take that and you drink it, or you add the flavor of that produce that came out of the ground from that claim, you flavored it with something, that it would be Tam Ki'ikr, right? So then it says, which means what? The fruit produced by a tree in its first 3 years of growth is arla and is forbidden for all benefit. Because only fruit of its first 3 years is forbidden, this prohibition, like that of a Nazir, is not considered permanent prohibition. Thus, the Arla prohibition is more stringent than the Nazir's prohibition on only 2 of the 3 counts mentioned above. Unlike the things prohibited to a Nazir, Arla is forbidden for all benefit, and the prohibition cannot be released. Nevertheless, these 2 counts of stringency allow application of the same kal v'chomer that was made in regard to Klai Kerem. If in the more lenient case of Nazir, the Torah extends prohibition to things flavored by the forbidden food, then certainly this is true in the more stringent case of Arla. The same kal v'chomer can be made in regard to any other prohibition that is more stringent than Nazir in at least one respect. So we have Klai Kerem, which is more stringent in 3, Arla, which is more stringent in 2. But either way, you see that you would learn the din of Tam Ki'ikr.
Can I read note 17 just so I understand that part of the Brisa? Even though.
Of course.
You want to do Shmuel Kanda? Think you do this?
No.
No, you don't have to do like crazy voices, but like this idea of using your voice for storytelling in a children's tape. Is that of interest?
You start. I actually went to Na'arim, so I actually heard his stories live.
He was a Rebbe there?
He was the director of Camp Na'arim.
Oh, really?
Him and Rabbi Presser owned it together for many, many years before they kind of split up. But so on Shabbos afternoon, 5 o'clock. It was Rabbi Kunda's story time.
Was it great?
Oh my gosh.
Kids loved it.
People were hanging from the rafters trying to listen.
No, but like you didn't have to like force kids to go.
Oh no, it was the main event of Shabbos.
Oh really?
He had everyone, and he would always continue his stories. So it was like, let's say 4 Shabbosim. So it was like to be continued at the end. You're like, oh my gosh, what's gonna he?
Is it all? Was it fiction, non-fiction?
Oh, it was all fiction.
Oh,
It was, Eliyahu Yom Tif Lipa.
And it was new. It wasn't like he was repeating.
Oh no, all new.
Wow.
Someone should have been a chayzer that wrote down the stories afterwards. He did the voices. The big. Who's that? Who's at the door? It's me. And then he'd be like, huh? He would like do these faces. He was fun. It was very sad when he passed away.
And the same argument can be made in regard to Arla on 2 counts. Note 17 on 3782. The fruit produced by a tree in its first 3 years of growth is Arla, literally sealed, and is forbidden for all benefit. Because only fruit of the first 3 years is forbidden. This prohibition, like that of the Nazir, is not considered a permanent prohibition. Thus, the Arla prohibition is more stringent than the Nazir's prohibition on only 2 or 3 counts mentioned above. Unlike the things prohibited to a Nazir, Arla is forbidden for all benefits. Unlike the things prohibited to a Nazir, Arla is forbidden for all benefits, and prohibition cannot be released. Nevertheless, these 2 counts of stringency allow application of the same type of that was made in regards to the Karen. If in a more lenient case, the Nazir Torah extends the prohibition to things flavored by forbidden food, but certainly this is true the more stringent case of Arla.
Here?
Yeah, what's the one thing that they're not comparable to?
Which one? Arla? Arla.
It's forbidden for all benefit and prohibition. Oh, it's not forever.
It's not forever. It's only 3 years.
So
That same fruit, because it's like that same fruit is only us for the first 3 years.
So here we see that the word mishras was used to teach you that it's related to Tam. Why is Rav Binyomin quoting Rabbi Akiva and saying that mishras constitutes you had to start lesson?
Yeah.
One of the Rabbanan said to Abaye, Rabbi Abob, Ki Kamar. When Rabbanan said a statement, Li Rabbi Akiva, he was referring to the view of Rabbi Akiva, who argues with the Brisa just cited and used the word infused to teach a combination principle in regards to another. The Brisa, which uses the word infused to equate flavor with substance, follows other Tanaim who disagree with Rabbi Akiva. Hey Rabbi Akiva, which recorded teaching of Rabbi Akiva shows this to be his view? Elim Rabbi Akiva Dalcha. If you say this is indicated by the teaching of Rabbi Akiva here in our Mishnah, where we have learned, Rabbi Akiva says, "Afilu shar pita biyayin," even if he soaked his bread in wine, v'yesh by kedei letzaref kazayas, and there isn't enough to add up to an olive oil and chayiv is chayiv.
We did it a few times. Like 2 days I did the same thing because it was a hard one. Okay. So it'll be quicker.
Why can't they just find the thing where it is? Why are you saying what it's not? Can we skip this? Can we go straight to the answer just so I get the answer and then I can figure it out? Okay, so we need to find now where do we find that Rabbi Akiva says?
It's a whole different. I mean, if someone says a little while, it takes a few times. But what?
Did you listen to Yossi's
What are we looking to find? This high Rabbi Akiva.
I don't remember at one point, but he said that.
We're looking to find Rabbi Akiva. What view of Rabbi Akiva?
And he was.
Rabbi Akiva was the one who said in our Mishnah.
He was coming against exactly this point.
Wow. Okay, Rabbi Akiva was the one who said in our Mishnah that afil shara pita b'yayin, even if you soak your bread in wine, v'yesh b'kedelet sarif kazayis, and there's enough to add up to al-gam chayiv. It's him that we've been speaking about, that even though you're not drinking a full kazayis of wine, or even a full kazayis of bread, but together they make up a kazayis, you're chayiv. That's what he said.
But then again, the piece of the jigsaw puzzle.
Right, have to be starfless or fine.
Yes.
But then our answer here was that Rabbi Abo said he was referring to the view of Rabbi Akiva, who argues with the Brisa just cited, and uses the word infused to teach the combination principle.
With regard to Nazir.
You're still.
So remember, this...
So when it says Hi Rabbi Akiva,
I'll tell you
what
why.
are we trying to find?
This Brisa literally took our word of Mishras from Nazir, and instead of teaching it what we learned in our Mishnah, which was Heter Mitzaref L'Eser, it's teaching Tam Ke'ikr. So we asked this as a kasha on Abaye. Say, no, it's not a kasha on Abaye. This Tana, the whole time, Abaye was going within Rabbi Akiva.
It wasn't a kasha to Abaye, it was a kasha from Abaye.
It was a kasha on Rav Dimi, right? Sorry. So this whole time, we thought it's a kasha on Rav Dimi. It's like, no. It's not a kasha on Rav Dimi. If anything, it was just, because, sorry. It's not a kasha on Rav Dimi, since this Tana is not like the Tana that we were talking about in our Mishnah. Our Mishnah was a Rav Akiva. Rav Akiva said that by Nazir we learn the din of Heter Mitzaref L'Eser. This Brisa that we're bringing right now argues in Rav Akiva and holds the din of Tam Ke'ikr. So it's not a kasha on Rav Dimi. It's just it's machlekes of Tanaim. Don't bring this as a kasha on a Meira. Basically, you could just say this is not the Tana that I'm going in right now.
So I think the question here is, where do we see that Rabbi Yochanan actually said that Mishras is Heter Mitzaref L'Eser?
Well, we did say that already.
Where? No, Rabbi Abo said it in the name of Rabbi Yochanan.
Yeah.
But we don't have an actual brisa where he said it. That's what the Gemara wants. When it says, Hi Rabbi Akiva, where do we learn that the word Mishras is coming to teach us Heter Mitzaref L'Eser?
Okay, I thought it was when we originally quoted and brought in.
No, that was just Rabbi Abo talking about what Rabbi Yochanan said.
Okay, that's okay. So you want a specific brisa that shows it? Meaning
That
it can't
shows
be-
the Mishras,
Okay.
the Mishras
Okay.
component.
Okay.
That was my question. Hi Rabbi Akiva, which recorded teaching of Rabbi Akiva shows this to be his view?
Uh-huh.
So hold the wire 1 second. Look at the next page, 37a3.
Yeah.
That Rabbi Akiva de Brisa, the teaching that shows this to be Rabbi Akiva's view, is the statement by Rabbi Akiva in the Brisa, the Tanya Rabbi Akiva Omer Nazir Shashar Pita B'yayin, a Nazir who soaked his bread and wine, V'achol Kazayis Mipasim Yayin, and ate an olive's volume on the bread and wine, Chayev.
Yeah.
Apparently, this record of Rabbi Akiva's ruling clearly states that the liability results from a combination of bread and wine forming the minimum kazayas, and this is indeed how the Gemara's proof is understood by Tosfos here. So he speaks it out directly in a
Yeah.
brisa.
So it's a brisa.
Right.
We know that he said it specifically, and that's why Rabbi Yochanan was quoting him to say that.
Okay, so now let's go back because I didn't want to get lost in the Gemara's
Fine.
reasoning. Hi Rabbi Akiva. If you say that it is indicated by teaching Rabbi Akiva here in our Mishnah, the Tanan Rabbi Akiva, we have learned Rabbi Akiva says, Afilu shara pita b'yayin, even he soaked his bread and wine, v'yesh by kedei l'tzaref kazayas, and there's enough to add up to an olive's volume, chayev is chayev, umimai, from what do you conclude that this ruling indicates the combination principle? Dimahu de eke kazayas be'ina, perhaps this ruling is only where there's an actual volumes of wine, an actual olive's volume of wine absorbed in the bread. And if you will counter, what then is the point of saying this altogether? Lafuke mitanakama. The point might be to exclude the view of the first Tanadama Achiyishta Revius Yayin, who says until he drinks a quarter log of wine, that it has to come into your mouth in the form of a liquid, not when there's a kazayas in a bread, a kazayas of wine in bread. Therefore, Rabbi Akiva makes the point that the quantity for liability is not a quarter log, but not liquid form, but quarter log of wine is less.
Yes. Quarter log. A revius is no.
It is liquid. It is liquid.
No, hold on. A kazayas, remember, is like a shot glass,
Uh-huh.
and a revius is like 4 ounces. So it's like a revius is like 4 times as much as a kazayas.
So Rabbi, you might come to say over here, the reason Rabbi Akiva is stressing this is not so much that it's not saying the mitzdarif principle, but rather
It's Stam arguing on the measurements. Do you need a kazayis or do you need a revius?
Right, and you can't say it in the star. So why is he saying it? He's coming to push back on the Tanakama that you need a smaller amount. You just need a kazayas to be chayav.
Yeah.
And if you have that kazayas, but it's mitzdarif also. Like you need mitzdarif, no?
No. So the reason what he was just explaining was there's actually a kazayas worth of wine in this. You dipped your bread.
Oh, that's not. Oh, right.
So you don't need to come on to
right.
the heter's mitzdarif because you
Right.
actually have a kazayas worth of isser.
So then we need a case in which he's talking about.
Where there's less than a kazayas of wine and you have to come on to heter mitzdarif l'isser.
Oh, so here he's saying. So that's why we come onto this last brisa, which says that Nazir sharp pitay b'yayin v'achal kazayas mi pas u'miyayin. You see, he speaks it straight out that it's mitzdarif, and that's what he's learning out from the word mishras.
Is it so straight out? He doesn't say you eat less than a half a kazayas of wine, a half a kazayas.
No, but he's saying, you just say he ate an hour's volume of wine. The fact that it says ate an hour's volume of bread and wine shows that it's mitzdarif, and that's how we see he learns out mishras to be an infusion and not tam.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
The Gemara now considers how this affects Rav Akiva's position in other matters. Omrle Rav Acha Bered Rav Avi Rav Ashi. Liter Rav Akiva to Kamaykam Malela Hai V'chol Mishras. According to Rav Akiva, who interprets V'chol Mishras Laheter Mitzaref L'Eser as teaching. Right, we already know this. Mishras is coming to teach us the din of Heter Mitzaref L'Eser. Lidin Tam Ke'ikar Minale. Where does he know the din of making flavor equivalent to the ikar? How does he know the din of Tam Ke'ikar? The Gemara is assuming that Rekiva must have another scriptural source to teach that Tam Ke'ikar.
According to Rekiva, interprets this concept. Anything if you let's see where does he know that litain tam ke'eker manala?
Yeah,
okay.
It's a classic question of like where does he know that din from? Yalv min basar v'chal. He'll learn tam ke'eker from the laws of basar v'chal. Oh,
Flavor equivalent to substance, right? That's where it's not infused. Okay.
So do you know that the three prohibitions?
Tam ke'eker is deraisa, right?
Good question. Maybe not. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yalach mi basar v'chalav.
What are the three times? It says in the Torah 3 times, Lois v'ashal gedi b'chalevi mai. And in each of them, we learn 3 different levels of basar b'chalav.
Mm-hmm.
First one is cooking them together.
Mm-hmm.
You can't cook milk and meat together.
Right.
One of them is that you can't eat them together. And the third one is that you can't have enough. Thank you. So let's see. I think we're going to get into this. So lav tam ba'amahu aser. So now by basar b'chalav, in that case, is it not a mere flavor of milk that has been absorbed by the meat, yet it is forbidden? Hachanami leishna. So basically, we want to say we'll learn the din of noisin tanka ikar from basar chalav because you see that when you're cooking milk and meat together, it's not that there's a kazayas of milk. It's just that there is flavor that went in, and yet it's
Make it tasty. Maybe when it's in the hot water and they touch, that's enough to make it usher. Who says anything to do with tam?
Okay, good. I don't know. Let's see. Note 26. The Torah forbids the meat that was cooked in milk, even if the meat is removed from the milk and retains only the flavor of the milk. Right? This is what we were talking about. This is all the nice and tam, meaning you take away that other thing, but you still have the flavor of it. Now, it is the residual flavor of milk that forbids the meat, as evidenced by the law that if concentration of milk is so small that its flavor cannot be detected in the meat is permitted. Again, now it's the residual flavor of milk that forbids the meat, as evidenced by the law that if the concentration of milk is so small that its flavor cannot be detected in the meat is permitted. We know this by like batal b'shishim, right? Because it doesn't have any tam. This shows that flavor is equivalent to substance. As an absorbed liquid, such as milk and meat, is considered no more than a flavor. In fact, all flavor derives from minute particles that have been absorbed from the flavoring substance. We need to continue reading. So again, we're going to learn from Basar V'chalav of Litin Tam Keker. Lav Tam Ba'al Mahuda Aser is not the case that it's just Tam. That's why it's Aser, even if there's no actual kazayas of milk in there. Hachanami Leishna, here too, in regard to all other prohibitions, there's no difference, and flavor is equivalent to substance. The Gemara must now explain the position of the Rabban, who used the word infuse to teach. Okay, so again, we had the other Tana, our Tana Rav Akiva learns Chol Mishras to teach Heter Mitzvah Eser. So where does he know Nice Tam Ke'ikr? He learns that from Basar Chalav. So where the Rabbanon, who learn that flavor is equivalent to substance from Mishras, why do they not learn this law from the laws of milk and meat, right? Why don't they learn Tam Ke'ikr?
Do Rabban hold of Heter Mitzvah Eser?
Right, so we have to ask them, where do they learn that from, right?
Like, do they?
Do they learn Heter Mitzvah Eser?
Oh, maybe they don't hold it by Nazir.
Or maybe they learn it by everything. Kiva said, okay,
Maybe you have to hold. No, but they don't. They say it's because of Tom. Okay, let's not get into that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's not get into that. I agree.
Okay, so the Rabbanan who say that they're learning Mishras to teach you that
Nice and Tam Ke'ikr.
Nice and Tam
They
Ke'ikr.
would argue that we can't learn this from Basar V'chalav because that is a chiddush. Why? Note 28. As the Gemara will soon explain, the law of meat and milk is in certain respects unique and surprising. Therefore, any stringency found in this law cannot be extended to other types of prohibition, since the stringency might also be unique to the law of meat and milk.
Why also?
What do you mean?
Read the sentence without the word also.
As the Gemara soon explain, the law of meat and milk is in certain respects unique and surprising. Therefore, any stringency found in this law cannot be extended to other types of prohibition, since the stringency might
Also is in addition to unique and surprising?
We just, because it's saying, Basar V'chalav is a unique and surprising, and therefore maybe the stringency of Basar V'chalav is also unique to just Basar V'chalav. I hear what you're saying. So my chiddush. So what is the chiddush of Basar V'chalav? If you say the chiddush is because each component by itself is mutter, right? You're allowed to drink milk. You're allowed to eat meat. Yet the combination of both is forbidden. Where do we have that in the Torah? Oh no, Kalayim Nami. Kalayim is the same thing. And we have Kalayim, Hayil Chudei Shari, Hayil Chudei Shari. The wheat is mutter, the grapes are mutter. It's just if you put them together, it's not. So what is the chiddush here? Even if the meat is soaked in milk for an entire day, it is permitted. But if one cooks it in the milk, it is forbidden. Soaking, right now we're thinking that in the Havmina's Gemara, you soak your meat in milk, it would be mutter. Right? Meat has 31. Meat that has been steeped in milk for a whole day.
Oh, it's only rabbinical.
Certainly absorbs
soaking.
Certainly absorbs the flavor of the milk, and vice versa, as if they would have been cooked together. Yet the Torah does not prohibit the milk-flavored meat, and vice versa. Yet the Torah does not prohibit the milk-flavored meat, and vice versa, unless that flavor was absorbed through the process of cooking. Torah does not prohibit it. Okay. Rabbinically, the meat and milk product may not be eaten in any case. The Torah's emphasis on the process rather than the result is the novel aspect of the law of meat and milk. Okay, so what's the chiddush? Or why basar b'chalav is different and more stringent? Because what kind of thing do you have it where eating two things together would be mutter min hatayra? You could steep it in milk. It's just the cooking you can't do. So you could dip your meat in milk, min hatayra, and then eat it. Rabbi Kiva nami basar b'chalav chidushu. But by the same token, Rabbi Kiva must also agree that the law of meat and milk is a novelty. How then can he derive from the law of meat and milk that flavor is equivalent to substance with regard to all prohibitions?
Okay, so let's remember what did Rabbi Kiva say? Rabbi Kiva said, "Had to mitzdaref le'isser by a Nazir."
He learned
because it says mishras.
Had to mitzdaref le'isser. Where did he know? Therefore, nice and tam ke'ikr. We said to learn it from basar b'chalav. Now we're asking, how can he learn?
Nice and time be'ikr by basar b'chalav. The basar b'chalav is a chiddush.
It's a very strict case. How can you learn to other things?
What other things? Even a Nazir?
No, you're saying not Nazir. The din of nice and tam ke'ikr.
Why he doesn't hold nice and time be'ikr by Nazir? Says who? He decided?
Well, we know he learns how to mitzdaref le'isser.
No, he learns that had to mitzdaref le'isser from mishras. Mechatesi doesn't hold night and tam ke'isser by Nazir.
Maybe.
That if you have a case like that.
Fine. Let's not think about Nazir. Everything.
Okay.
But other cases.
Where does he know it? Where does he know it?
The Klaim. How does he know?
How does he know nice and tam ke'ikr?
How does he
Learns
know?
out from basar b'chalav. Basar b'chalav has a chiddush. It's unique and surprising. It's novel.
Yeah, it's novel. It's unique. Yeah.
So, okay, so then we need to figure out how Rabbi Kiva hold nice and tam ke'ikr by many things.
Yes. Ella. Yalv migi'ulei oivdei koicha. He learns Noisim Tam Ke'ikr, the law regarding emissions of utensils used by idolaters. 1. When something is cooked in a pot, the pot absorbs a certain amount of flavor from the food. During subsequent cooking, some of the flavor originally absorbed by the pot is expelled into the food that is now being cooked. Right? This is like 101, Basar B'chalav 101, you know? Why can't you use your milk pot for a fleshik, soup, right? Because it has the flavor still in it. There's a blias. Because of this, a Jew may not cook his food in a pot, and a used pot acquired from a non-Jew till its non-kosher flavor has been expunged by boiling or intense heating, a process popularly referred to as kashering or hagala.
Like when they get to the hotel, they just throw boiling hot water.
So I actually do hagalas kalim every year.
Ooh!
The Sunday before
the hagala!
The hagalas kalim in the we do it in tag, sometimes elementary tag high school.
Why?
The Sunday before Pesach, and people from all walks of life, like a Rebbe said, all walks of Jewish life. They sometimes wear strimals, or they could be wearing kibbutz sugas, and then they
Could have
stop.
used the cholent pot metaphor with the pun. With the innuendo.
Yes. So people will bring like their bechers and their pots and forks that got not kosher during the year, and they dip it. We dip it for them into boiling hot water, and we're there standing on our
Doesn't your
feet.
hands hurt?
We wear obviously thick, waterproof, heat-proof gloves.
So you don't even feel the heat.
If you leave your hand in there for more than like 5 seconds, it starts to get hot, and you gotta take out and then put it
It'll be
under
too
cold water.
much.
Yeah, the heat eventually is gonna get through, but it's pretty.
But you're not in there for more than 5 seconds.
No, you drop it in. Also, you really drop it and then you pick it back up. So it should be a second. If it's 5 seconds, this is gonna be a long time. And then you put it under cold water, and then they take them. So then we kasher. So this is hagala. What's pshat in hagala? Because there's blias inside this cup, this becher that has chametz in it, and they want to make it that it's kosher for Pesach, so we expunge it. We do this also. You go to a hotel or you stay at Encore Reunion. You want to use their forks and knives. So you got to do hagal scale. Anyways, So, we learn it from Giyule Avedichem, the law of Hagalas Kalim, that were Gayish Kalim. The Amr Achmana Kol Davar Asher Yavai Ve'esh. Everything that is used with fire. Two, the verse refers to food utensils captured from the Midianites and states, everything that is used with fire, you shall pass through fire, and will be cleansed. The intent is that what is absorbed in the utensil is expelled in the same manner as it was absorbed. The way they say it in the Shivish Sprach is Ke'ein something, Kach Poltai, Ke'ein. In the same way that it was absorbed, that's how you get it rid. So if a utensil was used to roast non-kosher food directly over fire, it is purged by heating it directly over fire. If a utensil is used to boil non-kosher food, like a pot used for cooking meat, it is purged in boiling hot water. That's why you can't kosher grates of a barbecue grill by putting it in hot water. The only way to do it is with boiling hot fire. I mean, not boiling, a scalding hot fire.
So we're trying to find out where he learns out what's it called?
Tom Kicker?
Tom Kicker? Okay. That flavor is equivalent to the substance from the law regarding emissions of utensils by idolaters. Damar Achmana Kol Dvar Sheyaveh Be'esh, but the Torah says everything that is used with fire, the Meimer Nazir, which says in effect that the emissions are forbidden. What's emissions?
Since the Torah required that Midianite utensils be purged of their non-kosher flavors, it is evident that if kosher food would absorb these flavors from an unpurged pot, the kosher food would thereby become forbidden. Clearly, then, flavor of non-kosher food is forbidden, just like the substance of non-kosher food.
And it's forbidden Hachanami, Laishna, here too in regards to the Nazirs and other prohibitions. See Nazirs?
Here, in regards to Nazirs and other prohibitions, good.
Flavor is forbidden just like substance.
So we're learning Nazir Tam Ke'ikr from the din of Hagalas Kalim of Avdei Kechavim by the Binyomin. Okay?
So the Rabbananami, the Rabbanan who derived the law that flavor is equivalent to substance from the word infused, stated in the context of Nazir from Mishras, typically Migule Avdei Kechavim. Learn out from Avdei Kechavim. And maybe Avdei Kechavim is a Chiddush. Amarle.
Sorry, but they learned it from...
They learned Tam Ke'ikr from the word Mishras.
Right. So why don't they just learn it from...
Amarle, he, Rav Ashi, said to Rav Acha's son, let me just see who Rav Ashi is. Oh, the beginning of this Gemara said, well, Rekiva learns it from Mishras, let him...
He was someone who asked the question, where do we know? Where does Rabbi Kiva going to know the din of Nazir Tam Kicker?
Okay. Hasam Chidushu, there in the case of the Midianite utensils, the law is a Chiddush.
This is your answer.
For throughout the entire Torah, Nazir Tam Lifgam Mutter, the rule is that something which imparts a spoiled flavor is permitted. The Gabigula Avdei Kechavim, Asiyah, concerning emissions of utensils used by idolaters, such spoiled flavor is forbidden. Thus, the law of the utensils is unique and cannot be used as a source upon which model laws in general. So you can't learn out from the Avdei Kechavim Tam Ke'ikr.
Because obviously these aren't good flavors. These are like the leftover flavors.
Disgusting.
They're pagams.
And now because so that's why the Rabbanan want to come on to Mishras to teach you Tam Ke'ikr, because they don't want to learn it out from Avdei Kechavim, because that's unique and novel and surprising. So, for the Gemara, Rabbi Kiva Nami. Why is Rabbi Kiva learning out Tam Ke'ikr from Avdei Kechavim if it's a Chiddush? How can he derive that throughout the Torah the flavor is equivalent to substance from this? In the case of the Midianite utensils, the Torah forbade only a pot or other cooking utensils used that day, which does not impart a spoiled taste.
So you can't say the lav in tamil gamu. It's not spoiled. Therefore, there's no chiddush here that it's usser, even though there's a spoiled taste.
In the case of the Avdei Kechavim, the Torah forbade only a pot or other cooking utensil used that day, which does not impart a spoiled taste. Meaning once it's the second day and it's emitting a spoiled taste.
If you cook something, right? A guy cooks something in a pot. It
Yeah.
has the flavors. On that day, if you then go and put your kosher meat and cook something in there, it's going to impart flavor. That flavor, though, since it's a day old, it's not going to have like spoiled flavors put in. So there, for sure, is going to be usher because we say nicing tam ke'eker.
Right.
The question the Gemara was saying, we're talking about where the pots weren't used in the last 24 hours. They were used a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So those flavors that are imparted are therefore spoiled flavors because they were more than a day ago.
Okay.
And yet you saw, the Torah said that noisein tamufgam. So there's a chiddush by those kalim that you still can't use them even though they were used more than a day ago. All right, so that's why we were saying we couldn't. How could you learn the din of noisein tam ke'ikar from there where there was a chiddush because those are spoiled flavors. So now the Torah, now the Gemara is saying
there's no chiddush on day one.
There's no chiddush on day one, and therefore you could use these midyanim of the chavim pots as the prime example to teach us the din of noisein tam ke'ikar.
Got it. So Rabbi Akiva can use the pots as noisein tam ke'ikar because there's no novelty on day one because they're not spoiled, and therefore because they're usher and they can transmit that flavor and it's like the ikar over there, so too we can apply it to Nazir and other prohibitions. In fact, the Gemara and the Rabbanan, who derive that flavor is equivalent to substance from infused, they should derive it from day one of the Oivdei Kechavim.
Yeah.
Kedera bas yaminam. Even in that case of the pot that has been used that day, it is impossible that the flavor absorbs in the wall has not spoiled a little, and therefore they'll hold on to this novelty, this chiddush, that over there it's unique and surprising in the sense that it is mutter elsewhere, but over here by idolaters it's usher, so we're not going to learn out from Nazir and...
No, so therefore we need to learn out from
Mishras from Nazir, but we can't apply the case of Adichem to other cases.
Right. I want to see note 9 because I find this topic interesting. The rabbis hold that the flavor absorbed by the walls of a pot begins to deteriorate immediately, and therefore any flavor absorbed into a pot and subsequently emitted, even that same day, is spoiled enough to be permitted. If, nevertheless, the Torah required the eradication of such flavor from Binyomin utensils, it is a novelty, thus the law cannot be served as model for generalization that flavor is equivalent to substance. Kiva, however, does not consider the immediate deterioration of flavor sufficient cause for them to be permitted. Thus, the Gemara concludes that Rav Kiva can use infused to teach the combination principle in regard to Nazir. So Rav Kiva uses Mishras to teach Heter Mitzar for Isser by Nazir, since he derives that flavor is equivalent to substance from the law of idolatry utensils. Others, however, consider that law to be a novelty which cannot be extended beyond specific application. Accordingly, they need infused to teach that flavor is equivalent to substance in regard to Nazir. Yeah, okay, it didn't actually talk about the other case. It said exactly what you summarized.
The Gemara now questions.
What time is it? Okay.
You have to go?
I do have to work today.
Okay. So
Let's
you
see.
go.
Wait, let me just see. What are we getting to?
No, it's like it's a new piece. Okay, so we'll stop here. Stop here. Today's actual daf, we're a couple daf behind in the schedule, today's daf is actually Lamed Tes. So we're finishing Lamed Zayin. What I would recommend for myself is to pause here and then later take care of Lamed Tes.
Okay, so what daf are we going to be doing on Sunday morning?
Tes. Tomorrow's Mem. Tomorrow is Mem.
Sunday's Mem Aleph.
Sunday is Mem Aleph. We should probably do Mem Aleph on Sunday. And it's our job to make up the rest of Lamed Zayin and Lamed Ches. So we did miss those 2 days.
All right.
Shlayach.